Hey there, welcome back to the Greater You. Today's tool, we're going to be talking about awareness. This is an important component of well-being. There's a lot of people that roll through life on autopilot or going kind of numb in our minds. This is evidenced when we find ourselves, spending too much time on devices or, binge watching, Netflix or whatever, and just watching things, through, and just completely checking out gaming too much, even reading, novels, like just constantly escaping into fantasy. So, and I'm not saying that all those things don't have their place, right? A good book is awesome. A great novel's awesome. A good video game's fun, whatever. It's when we find ourselves disappearing and avoiding and going underneath the surface of awareness and just kind of existing on autopilot. That's when we run into trouble with our well-being. So we're going to talk about the levels of awareness today. Let's start our screen share. Take a look at our visual for today. I like these visuals that are just straightforward and clear for you. So you really have three levels of awareness. And, I think we all struggle with different times where we're at this top level here, this which is unaware that we're unaware. Shout out to my first clinical supervisor, taught me this many years ago. This was Dennis Budd. He taught me a lot this is back in the early 2000s. And this has stuck with me. The things that he taught me around this were so significant that it's informed everything that I've done as a counselor and a coach. So first is this idea of unaware that we're unaware. This is autopilot. This is the unwell place to be when it comes to awareness. That's when we're checking out. And how do we discover that we're in this place of unawareness? We feel this feeling of avoidance in our lives, and we've built our lives around escapisms, right? We're constantly escaping into fantasy or escaping into something. We're just escaping drugs, alcohol, any of that stuff, pornography. If you're just escaping, if there's addictions in our lives, that's a sign of unawareness because we're escaping into something or trying to numb. So finding those places of unawareness, and when you get called out on it, you might find yourself feeling a little defensive. That is a sign of being in the unawareness place. Because when we're in a place of unawareness and avoidance, we don't want to pop that balloon and see what's inside of it. We don't want to crack that egg. We kind of are living in the Truman Show or the Matrix on purpose, right? And so when someone's like, yo, hey, are you spending too much time on video games? Well, geez, no, like what you look at your phone too much. So if we find ourselves being defensive, we might want to check ourselves like, whoa, wait a minute. Did they just hit a nerve there? Is there something out of balance in my life where I'm underneath the surface of awareness and being unaware? So what happens, or how do we get ourselves to this second and third stage of becoming aware that we're aware? So there needs to be a realization, right? Usually by doing an inventory of like, hey, what's going on with me in my life, checking in. There's a great exercise. I think it's the 128-hour exercise, whatever, however many hours there are in the week. You look at a typical week and you actually map out what are you actually doing with your time. There's like the ideal self that's like, yeah, I work and then I work out and I do some meal prep and I hang out with my significant other and my kids and my friends. And then there's the math that plays out on the paper. You might find yourself spending way too much time on social media, or you might find yourself spending way too much time, searching for random stuff on Amazon or on the internet. And, whatever it is, look and see the time doesn't lie, right? Screen time and apps like that can show you where you're spending your time can really help with this process of popping the bubble of unawareness and starting to wake up, right? The metaphor that is seen in the first Matrix movie. The other ones are dumpster fires, but the first one was really good, where Neo has to wake up, right, from the dream that he was unaware he was in, right? Something happens and you've got to pop that surface and cause waves to go through your life to say, what the heck is going on here? I need to make a shift. So when that inventory hits and that call comes and that wake up call hits, we start to move into that phase of becoming aware that you previously were unaware. It's like, whoa, holy cow, what kind of a mess have I got myself into? I have spent $300 on, microtransactions on some random game that I on my device. What am I doing? Right. So there's this awareness bucket of cold water moment that can start to wake us up and recognize, oh, I was kind of in an unaware state of being. I wasn't really thinking or acting in a very mindful way. I was kind of just floating, right? So when you become aware that you were unaware, you want to pick this out in break these out into small achievable areas. Oh, I've been spending a little too much time on my device. It's time to reduce that, put some limitations, put some locks, put some blocks, put some timers. For anyone that's got executive functioning challenges or ADHD or VAST, whatever you want to call, variable attention stimulation trait. That's a great word for ADHD now that's more up to date in the literature. If you've got challenges with that with focus, put timers on stuff. If you do game, like get your phone, turn the volume all the way up, and put a 1 hour timer. When that 1 hour beep hits, turn it off and go do something real, right? So you take it in small, palatable adjustment bites where, hey, I can start working on my, screen time, or I can start working on exercise, or I can start working on, whoa, I was totally unaware around the nutrition and I was just like mindlessly eating all day. And now I'm aware that I was eating and, it was showing up on my waistline and in my fitness and health, and it was making me feel sluggish and heavy. So now I'm aware of it. Now I can start making some adjustments and using our goal methods to get through that. We highly recommend hiring one of our coaches to help you with this process, because that bucket of cold water experience can be so uncomfortable that people choose to go back to unawareness and say like, yeah, I'll handle that later, right? And next thing you know, you're back on autopilot. Okay. So now there are moments that we want to live more in this awareness phase, right? This aware that we're aware phase is a high sense of awareness where growth occurs big time. We make leaps forward in this phase where it's like, whoa, I'm really aware. I'm being super mindful about my whatever I used exercise routine. I'm being very aware of my exercise routine. So therefore, I'm doing it. I have a strategy, I've got a plan, and I'm aware of why I'm doing it, and have a big strong why that keeps me going, building habits around it, and I'm staying on top of it by being mindful and present when I'm working out. That those moments of awareness, uh they can build into where we really get great habits and life-changing experiences that build us into new versions of ourselves. That's where leaps of growth occur. And it doesn't have to be in your exercise routine. It could be in the way that you are interacting with media or social media. It could be aware that you're aware of some social inadequacies that you've been maybe over talking your friends. And you're like, oh my gosh, this became aware to me that I'm, not listening enough in my friendships or whatever. And so you move into that aware that you're aware phase and start doing a better job of really listening, making good eye contact, and hearing the words and understanding what people are trying to say. Doing some good reflective listening and some validation and showing empathy in your conversations. So those are the levels of awareness. Unaware that we're unaware, don't want to stay there, don't want to build your house there. Aware that you're unaware. Probably most people that are working on self-growth hang out in that phase a lot, and it can be tough. Get some support as you're working on building more awareness into your life. And then healthy habits come in at that aware that we're aware phase. But we don't want those healthy habits to just become automatic and mindless. We want to, show gratitude and constantly turn the knob just a little bit. When people are working on like the fitness goals that we talked about earlier, you want to be adjusting and adapting as age occurs, as your fitness level goes up. One of my favorite mountain bikers that I follow, he's like, hey, mountain biking doesn't get easier, you just get faster. That's a guy who's aware that he's aware. He knows that, a sport as rigorous as mountain biking that's basically a true statement. If you stay on the growth curve of improving your skill set, it's not really going to get easier. You'll get better at it, but you're just going to get faster and more technically inclined. So, we want to become aware that we're aware, but not let that drip down and go below the surface and become kind of mindless unawareness again. And by the way, healthy habits don't tend to live long in an unaware state. It's usually the unhealthy habits, the things that require no energy, effort, or whatever, like just, the Netflix episodes, just automatic scrolling and queuing up the next thing, and you're just drooling. Like that doesn't really take any energy, right? So unawareness habits tend to be easy, and awareness habits tend to require effort. So things that are worthwhile in life do require that we put in some blood, sweat, and tears into it, right? Put in some effort, lean into it. You'll get better at it. The habits will come, but they require awareness to keep them going. So that is it for this video. Like it if you liked it, subscribe. This is a quick snippet of the levels of awareness. If you have questions around this, sign up for our coaching. Check out thegreateryou.com. That's with the letter U, thegreateryou.com. Check out our website, sign up for some coaching, come see us. We've got coaches across the US, but we can do virtual coaching around the globe. We adjust for times differences and everything. It's a flexible, workable thing. So thank you for your time today, and we'll talk to you soon. That concludes our dive into the levels of awareness. Until the next time, we'll see you at the Greater You.